What's up, what's up, what's up, what's up? Welcome again to my little corner of the YouTube universe. My topic for the day, the discussion for the day, pertaining to the Bible is 10 historical facts about Jesus from non-Christian sources. So, we're going to be talking about the life of Jesus from non-biblical sources. We all know about Jesus from the Bible prediction of him, but now I want to see, can we learn about Jesus from people who not in the Bible? Can we learn about Jesus from people who was not named Peter, Mark, Luke, John, Matthew, the Apostle Paul, the Apostle Timothy, etc. We're going to learn about Jesus from people who did not write one book of the Bible. So, because this is coming from people who do not have anything to do with the Bible, this is historical, factual evidence that says that yes, a man named Jesus existed. Yes, he did fantastic miracles. Yes, he lived a righteous and noble life. So let's start our journey. Alright, here we go. Now my source is coming from the direct internet. The title I gave you is an internet title. So if you want to read the article, you go back and get the name of the exact title that I gave you a few seconds ago. I'm going to be reading excerpts from that article. So let's start. I just think it's interesting that the only book that even talks about Jesus is the Bible. I am not even sure we can prove he actually existed. So, that's someone's belief. Now, although this explanation is largely rejected by scholars in all spheres of historical and biblical study. So many scholars, many historians, they know that Jesus existed. They know it 100% that the man named Jesus did exist. It tends to pop up back on social media like a never-ending game of digital whack-a-mole. So those questions about whether Jesus was alive, that existed, they are topics that's usually presented on social media forums, not in the academic realm. In the academic realm, they do not go around and say that Jesus existed because they already know he existed because they got the historical evidence from the Bible and from other sources, which we will see shortly. The truth is that Jesus is not only documented in the eyewitness testimony compiled in the New Testament, but he is mentioned as a historical person by several non-Christian sources within 150 years after his death. So from a historical point of view, 150 years after someone death is a short amount of time. His life. From those sources, we can learn 10 things about Jesus without even opening the Bible. So if you got any atheist friends, any agnostic friends who don't believe in the Bible, now you got evidence to show that historians, scientists, said that he existed and they back it up about the type of person that he was. So number one, he was known to be wise and virtuous. This fact was reported by Jewish historian Josephus, who was born around AD 37. He was born in that time period when Jesus was born. And his iniquities of the Jews, he reports. At this time, there was a wise man named Jesus. His conduct was good, and he was known to be virtuous. That's coming from the historian Josephus. 2. He had a brother named James. Okay, here we go. So that's getting me to that Virgin Mary thing, that Mary was a virgin when Jesus became an adulthood. She was not a virgin. If you study your Bible, Mary and Joseph had other children. I've given you evidence in that in one of my previous video logs. In recounting the stoning of James, Josephus, the historian, records, so he assembled the Sanhedrin of judges and brought before him the brother of Jesus, who was called Christ, whose name was James, and some others. And when he had formed an accusation against them as breakers of the law, he delivered them to be stoned. I'm sorry that they were stoned, but you see from this little excerpt that Jesus did have a brother named James, and no one doubted that. In Jesus' day, which those Caesars lived, they knew that he had relatives. He was an actual human being who had an actual family. 3. He was known to perform miracles. Celsus was a 2nd century Greek philosopher. Now we're talking about a Greek person. And a fierce opponent of Christianity. So he hated Christianity. And what is known to be the first comprehensive intellectual attack on Christianity, he tried to resolve why Jesus was able to perform miracles. The story is weird. The story is wild. But the main point is that by trying to explain away the miracles of Jesus, he is actually affirming that they happened. So this man, a proponent of Christianity, he hated Jesus, he knew about Jesus' miracles, and he was trying to prove that they did not exist, which the writers say give you evidence that they did exist. And this is coming from a man from the 2nd century. So he was fresh. He had a keen understanding about the early church. He goes on further. Jesus, an account of his poverty, was hired out to go to Egypt. While there, he acquired certain powers which Egyptians pride themselves on possessing. He returned home highly elated at possessing these powers, and on the strength of them gave himself out to be a god. So this man again, Celsus, is trying to prove that Jesus was not a true miracle worker. So he's trying to say Jesus got his powers from going to Egypt. In one of my other videos, I discussed the relationship between the Hebrews and Egypt. We see here, Jesus had relationship with Africans, who in this case were Egyptians. So Africa was known by the Hebrews. Africa was like a brother nation, brother country to the Hebrews. They knew about many other African nations. Most of us don't even know that Africa played a powerful part in the Bible. Not just with Egypt, Ethiopia, and other places were mentioned in that book. 4. He was crucified under Pontius Pilate. This fact comes to us from one of the most trusted historian of the ancient world. Cornelius Tacitus was born in AD 56 and served as a respected senator and proconsul of Asia under Emperor Vespasian. He wrote a history of the 1st century Roman Empire, which many historians consider to be the pinnacle of Roman historical writing. He notes Christus, from whom the name had its origin, suffered that extreme penalty during the reign of Tiberius at the hands of one of our procurators, Pontius Pilate. So this renowned Roman historian says, yes, Jesus was crucified under Pontius Pilate, letting you know more and more that the biblical evidence for the crucifixion is historically accurate. Josephus confirmed Pilate condemned him to be crucified and to die. 5. His crucifixion was accompanied by darkness and an earthquake. Non-biblical people who had nothing to do with the Bible have said his crucifixion was accompanied by an earthquake and thick darkness. This fact was originally recorded by a Samaritan historian named Tullus, who was alive at the same time Jesus was, AD 5 to 60. He wrote a 3-volume history of the first century Mediterranean world, which unfortunately no longer exists. Where people destroy that historical document. That's up to us to find out. But before his writings were lost, he was cited by another ancient historian, Julius Africanus. Julius Africanus. So where can this person be from? In AD 2021, Africanus described Tullus' account of what happened during Jesus' crucifixion. On the whole world there pressed a most fearful darkness, and the rocks were rent by an earthquake, and many places in Judea and other districts were thrown down. So, oh my God, I was doubting it myself. But did an earthquake really happen? I was thinking, because like most of the time in the gospel, I think I only listed that earthquake only one time. The other 3 gospels, I think it was in Matthew, I'm not sure, but you have to check on that. Only one of those gospels listed the earthquake. But according to this historian right here, it really happened. It happened. You know, most churches don't even talk about that anymore. When Jesus was crucified, that earthquake happened. No one talk about that. He just said he died, came back to life on, quote, Easter Sunday. And I say that in quotes, quote, Easter Sunday. He had many Jewish and Gentile disciples. Josephus, again, the historian, wrote, and many people from among the Jews, or the Hebrews, like I like to call them. Many people among the Hebrews, or the Israelites, and other nations became his disciples. Pilate condemned him to be crucified and to die. And those who had become his disciples did not abandon discipleship. 7, my good friends. He lived during the time of Tiberius Caesar. Julius Africanus reported that another ancient historian, Phlegon, confirmed the darkness at the time of Jesus' death, and that Jesus was alive in the time of Tiberius Caesar. Phlegon records that in the time of Tiberius Caesar, at forenoon, there was a full eclipse of the sun from the 6th hour to the 9th hour. So check in the Bible, my friends, the time period where Jesus was hanging on that cross. Number 8, His disciples believed that he rose from the dead. Okay, we all know that. Just like in the Bible, we know that his disciples came to believe, because originally they did not believe. Originally, they was running all over the place. And I'm going to make a lesson about that too, of why I'm a Christian. In his commentary regarding the disciples' reaction to Jesus' death, Josephus recorded, Jesus' disciples reported that he had appeared to them 3 days after his crucifixion, and that he was alive. Coming from Josephus. He was not a Christian. He was an Israelite, or a Jew, if you will. 9. His disciples believed he was God, and they met regularly on the Sabbath to worship him. Philemon the younger lived from AD 61 to 113 and was an influential lawyer and magistrate of ancient Rome. In a letter to Emperor Trajan, he wrote, "They, the Christians, were in the habit of meeting on a certain fixed day before it was light, when they sang in alternate verses a hymn to Christ as to a God, and bound themselves by a solemn oath not to any wicked deed, but never to commit any fraud, theft, or idolatry, never to falsify their word, nor deny a trust when they should be called upon to deliver it up." Lucian of Samosata was a 2nd century Greek satiric known for his wit and sarcasm. Even though Christians were the object of his snark, he affirmed certain details about them. The Christians, worship a man to this day, the distinguished personage who introduced their novel rites and was crucified on the account. It was impressed on them by their original lawgiver that they are all brothers from the moment they are converted, and deny the gospels of Greece and worship the crucified sage and live after his laws. 10. His disciples were willing to suffer and die for their beliefs. The persecution and suffering of early Christians was reported by Suetonius, the official secretary of the Roman Emperor Hadrian, around AD 121. He documented that they were expelled from Rome in AD 49 by Claudius, because the Jews or Israelites at Rome caused constant disturbance at the instigation of Christus or Christ. He expelled them from Rome. And Nero inflicted punishment on the Christians, a sect given to a new and mischievous religious belief. Tacitus also confirmed Nero's persecution of early Christians. Nero fastened the guilt and inflicted the most torturous on a class hated for their abomination, called Christians by the populace. So in conclusion, my dear friends, from non-Christians and even anti-Christian sources, we can be sure that Jesus in fact existed, was crucified, was believed to be resurrected from the dead, and his many followers were willing to suffer and die for that belief. So, the next time someone claims that there is no evidence outside the Bible, be sure to share these 10 facts. Thank you. for visiting the site. You all have a wonderful day, and may the God of heaven and earth always bless and keep you forevermore. Amen.